I didn't want the glare.
Good afternoon. This is Munira Zahabi from Chicagoland. I am the CEO and founder of Kismet Ventures, which is my company. And I do these interviews because I want to instill values in people that are instilling values in other people. So it's a domino effect. But many people that I have found who do these things don't promote themselves enough or do not value themselves enough to spread the word. So I'm helping them spread the word today. I'm here. My guest today is Patricia from Atlanta. Hi, Patricia.
Well, hello, Munira. How are you?
I'm good, and thank you so much for joining us today. I know you're very busy. I start with the same question with all of my people, and I ask you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I want to say thank you for having me on, and this is always a pleasure. You know, I know you and I have been talking for a while, quite a while now on social media, and I'm happy to do this interview with you. You know, I didn't know it was going to come to this, but this is awesome. And because social media is so powerful. But a little bit about me is I worked 29 years in corporate. First of all, let me go back to my family. My family, I'm the last child of 8 children, 5 boys and 3 girls. That's the first thing. And of course, I came up in a home, a single parent home, basically, for the majority of my life. It was a single parent home. And my mom basically kept us in church. And I think that is really the beginning of my foundation. You know, as a child, I didn't understand it, but today I understand that being brought up in the spiritual realm and a godly home has really helped me, and it takes me through every challenge I need to go through today, anything that I'm faced with today, good, bad, or indifference. I know that God is in control, and that's powerful because it takes a lot from me. I don't have to figure a lot of things out because guess what? It's already figured out. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Makes sense. But Mama knows best, right?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I have spent some years in the military, U.S. Army Reserves. I spent 12 years in the U.S. Army Reserves, and I traveled quite a bit. And with that, and I went to the reserves right out of high school. And I'm going to be totally honest with you. I went to the reserves because I wanted to leave home. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that. But I also wanted a paycheck, and I also wanted to learn a skill. And the skill was medical. I went to those while I was in the Army Reserves. And I spent 12 years there. And then after I came out of the reserves, right as I was coming out, I landed my career in law enforcement with Miami-Dade County Department of Corrections here in Miami, Florida. I am from Miami. And I worked there for 29 years. So I went up the ranks in that organization from officer, and I retired just 2 years ago, as a matter of fact, as a correctional lieutenant. So that was a very rewarding career for me. Benefits are great. Everything is great, you know, and I'm grateful for that. But one thing I want to stress, Miriam, is that before I retired, fear set in. And the reason fear set in was because I was going to retire, and I had been there 29 years in one place, you know, and those people, the organization, I was adapt to that environment. So knowing I was going to retire was going to take away the family I had been around, good, bad, and indifference. And, you know, because there was a lot of challenges there, but I got a lot of accolades, but that was still my environment. And so therefore, in order to overcome the fear, what I had to do was prepare for my retirement. And I saw a lot of people during my 29 years that would retire, and they would go back to work for someone else, another organization or business, or they would come back to that particular job. And I never understood that, because normally when you leave a job and you go work somewhere else, you're coming back for less money and the benefits are not the same. So, and that was a very rewarding career. So that was something that puzzled me. So that sent a message to me that I share today with the clients I serve and people I meet that cross my path. Preparation is the key to anything that we want to achieve in life. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So how do you prepare people?
How do I prepare people? Well, I do coach. I'm a business strategist. I'm a business development strategist. And that is one of the skills that what I've done. Let me tell you what I've done. What I've done is upon retiring, first of all, I connected, I invested in myself. That's the first thing I did was I invested in myself, and that means that initially I started, I joined the multi-level marketing and I market legal and I did self-services. That's what I thought I was going to do the whole time I retired, because basically I'm an independent associate. So therefore I am my own boss and I make as much money as I choose to make, as much if I do the work. So what that did, that took me into, as I was vending and doing a lot of different things, going out to get the information out there, what that did was took me into public speaking, because it only makes sense that if you speak to a group of people at one time, as opposed to one or two, then of course, more people get your information. And then of course, that's what we call planting seeds. So with that is what I started doing. And that's where the networking came in. And I love meeting people. I love interacting with people. Organizations, Women's Prosperity Network, National Association for Black Women in Construction. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce. So I just started joining organizations because I wanted to make sure when I retire, I would have a family to replace that I was leaving. And I wanted to be definitely around professionals. So how I prepared other people, since that time, I become a business strategist, a development strategist coach. Meaning what? I took my talents, I took my gifts, and I took my hobbies. And I developed a business. And a lot of times what people don't understand is we were all born with gifts. And some of our hobbies, the things that we do on a daily basis, they're minute to us. They're not that valuable. We don't think it is that important to us because we do it on a regular. But in church, I brought people together. I always host concerts and different things of that nature for different choirs to come in. Even in the workplace, I would always put together, some type of event within the organization so we could all come together and eat together and have a good time, whether it was somebody's birthday, whether it was a breast cancer, whether it was diabetes week, whatever. But I never gave it a second thought until I came out here as an entrepreneur. And I was in training with Bill Walsh. You will see me with him throughout the social media. And he's one of our speakers in our upcoming event. Nancy Matthews is another mentor. Those are my mentors, Sharon Lecter. And when I would hear them talking, the different trainings that we were in, they would always talk about events, how you can turn an event into a business. So I started doing those events about 5 years ago. They had no idea that it was a business until I started investing in myself and being in some of their trainings. And then that's when I learned that I had a business in my pocket and didn't even know it, but it was a hobby. So today I host networking events, and how I believe in preparation is the first key to preparation is to connect with those individuals who have what you want. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that make sense? Yes.
Yes.
So that's where I am with that. I'm sorry?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yes, that's the first step for me in preparing for my retirement and in preparing for me to be an entrepreneur. Even in the multi-level marketing, when I started doing that 2 years prior to retiring, I started going to conferences, live events, because that's where the energy is, that's where the fire is, and that's where those individuals who are making all the money, that's where they hang out at. So that's what I do. The first thing I do is connect with those individuals who have what I want. And what that did for me, it took me into public speaking and, of course, hosting my events. I used to pay for the chairs, pay for the tables, and all this stuff started in my backyard. I would pay for the food, feed the people. We had a DJ. I would pay for everything. And that was prior to retiring. And then after I retired, I started associating myself with trainings that Bill Walsh offered, Nancy Matthews, the Women's Prosperity Network, her and her two sisters, Trish Carr and Susan Weiner. Those people teach the people how to have and how to create a business. They teach us public speaking, and they teach us how to brand ourselves. And that's what preparation is all about. It's about investing in yourself. It's about connecting with those individuals who have what you want. And then it's about discovering your gifts, your talents, and your hobbies. And you turn them into a business. So that's where I am.
That is so awesome. So did you start, you said you started 2 years before retiring in the MLM business. Was that something, did you look at different MLM business or did you just look at the one that you worked with?
I'm glad you asked that question, Miriam. I know I'm messing up your name, but I'm sorry. I'm glad you asked that question because what happened is I worked in law enforcement, as I said before, 29 years. So of course, in law enforcement, it is a very high risk job when you're overseeing inmates and staff. I was a lieutenant, I was a sergeant, I was a corporal, all those supervisor positions throughout my years. So of course, I was responsible for the inmate population, and those were in the thousands, as well as the officers, staff that I supervised at any given shift. So therefore, litigation is going to take place in an environment like that because when the inmates' rights are violated by staff, then we're talking lawsuits. If fights break out and staff are injured, we're talking about lawsuits. If inmates die in our custody, we're talking about lawsuits. So with that, we know that you have to have access to the legal system. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's how legal came about. I always believe in the law. Law was a part of our curriculum, and I love law simply because law establishes guidelines for us to follow in life, on the job, in the church, in every arena of our life. There are rules to the game.
True, that is true.
So that's how I came about getting into that. So I didn't have to search around for what MLM I wanted to do. I have done several even prior to that, but when it came to that, legal and identity theft services, I've used that service a number of times in my career. Many employees have purchased the service. People in our everyday life have purchased the service. And the one unique thing about that service is when you purchase a service on your job, what we call a group benefit plan, that only protects you on the job. That means you cannot use it against the job. So let's say you have a slip and fall at work, and your county, the benefits doctor is telling you for that organization saying, okay, you're 100%, you can go back to work. But your private doctor is saying, no, you can't go back to work. Now you have some conflict there. And in order to protect your job, your interests, sometimes you may have to seek legal counsel. And I saw a lot of that happening. So the bottom line is legal is very important in every arena of our life. And I do love legal. And so when that was introduced to me, it was a no-brainer. When you can have legal protection, pick up a phone, tap the app, call an attorney, tap the app, do your will from your app on your computer. When you can tap the app, take a picture straight to the attorney's office, that's huge to me for a small amount of money a month, a small monthly fee, no contracts. I thought that only made sense to me. And that was what I decided to market. And that service alone has taken me into the public speaking arena because I stayed in front of people. And it has also allowed me to become a best-selling author with the Women's Prosperity Network. I'm a best-selling author in this book. And I'm just excited. I'm just excited about all the things that have come about that I've learned and I've gained just in these 2 years that I have been retired. But it's all because I got out. I got up, I suited up, and I show up. I don't just sit for my computers and do what I need to do and try to reach the world. I get out and I meet people. I use all platforms that there are, but I'll always believe that people need people. And that's what Unity and Service represents.
That is so true, because it is in promoting others that we are promoted, right? And I believe
absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I understand the value that you have because you have the legal system. Now that you're a coach and a speaker, I mean, was investing in yourself before you retired or after you retired?
Investing in myself really started after I retired, but I will say this. Well, let me take that back because I joined some of the organizations I mentioned. The Chamber of Commerce, there's an annual fee. Women's Prosperity Network, there's an annual fee. National Association for Professional Women in Construction. That was another organization I'm in. And I'm also a member of the National Association for Professional Women, okay, NAPW. That organization's been around for over 50 years. And I'm a member of all of those organizations. And yes, I invested in myself because there is an annual fee for all of those organizations. And from there, that's when I initially invested in myself. And then, of course, after I retired, before I retired, I was following Bill Walsh around, because he has a lot of free events. And I was listening to him, so I was just educating myself. And it was not until after I retired, because I had the time now, I started following Nancy Matthews, the organizations that I was in. That means when they travel, I was able to go. So conferences and different things of that nature that happen throughout the year with all of these organizations, I was able to travel. So I would say that I started making major investments in myself as it relates to public speaking. Being an author in this book, it costs money. Everything costs money. And this is why, as a business strategist, development strategist, I tell people, don't quit your day job yet. Don't get so frustrated that you quit your day job. Why? Because the money you need, that money from the day job, to help build and to pay for things of this nature for your business.
Yes.
So that's why preparation is a very vital word for me. And that's what I teach people. You cannot quit on a whim. You have to properly, like we just said, prepare.
That's very good advice. But see, so people who are about to retire, that's pretty good advice, because most people don't know what they're going to do after. They always think, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to just relax. I'm going to take a few months off. And pretty much few months takes into a few years and they haven't done anything with their life. And I know that most people who retire without a plan then fall sick and are,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, they are a victim of circumstances, right?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly right. And what happens is, that's why when I mentioned it before, why so many people come back to work. Because when they left on a false precept, I guess, that, okay, I'm going to retire and I'm going to travel. Traveling, everything we do in life, when you do it enough, it becomes a habit and becomes what? Boring, So some people think that they're just going to travel, but traveling is good. But I travel for reasons. Most times I'm traveling, it's about business or about personal development. But my point is this: traveling is awesome. But what my concern was with me is that I have friends, but my friends still work. I have friends, but they can't move when I move. And I do not personally care for going to Jamaica, going to Hawaii, going to Israel, going to these places that I would go to with churches or with groups of people. I do not take kindly to traveling alone on ventures of that nature. Does that make sense? So traveling, for some people, they don't think about all the time, because your children grow up. Sometimes they don't want to be around us. You know what I'm saying? So it means much to prepare. And that's what my major, you laughing, but it's true. And that's what my major goal is. My major goal is to go back I've been retired now, like I said, for 2 years, but my major goal is that I'm working on is putting a package together. And, my assistant, myself, my goal is to go into corporations, and I want to let them know what it's going to entail in retirement. And if they decide to retire, they're going to have something to put in its place. And if they have gifts, talents that they want to discover so that they can create the fortune that they deserve, that's what I want them to know. Because you're either going to run out of money if you don't keep that bottom line padded and you don't spend wisely, put that money aside that you save up. And if you don't save properly when you are working, and a lot of times people fail to do that. And before you know it, it's time to retire and you didn't set up that nest that you should have set up. So now you got to go back to work. So I want to
that's very good advice for people who are working. But now, in this day and age, you see, corporations are closing down. The Sears store is closing down. The Toys R Us is closing down. Parsons and Pierre is closing down. I don't know if all of these stores are there, but there are people who have kind of worked in these organizations for a while because they've been around for a while, and now all of a sudden their job is redundant.
Yeah.
So now they're in a panic mode as to what they're going to do. What do you tell people in that situation?
Well, in that situation, it goes right back to what I said before, Munira. You have to prepare. If they know that those jobs is a possibility even in today's society, people have lost so many jobs. That's been a major issue. You go to work and you don't know when you're going to get a pink slip. You know what I'm saying? And we went through that in our profession, but because we worked on the law enforcement side and we oversaw the inmates, that didn't affect us so much. We lost some benefits, but we got them back because of the bargaining unit standing up for us. But there were people that would come to work, and they didn't know. They was working in fear because they didn't know, when they was going to get that pink slip. And I saw it happen so many times. But my point, I cannot stress it enough to the world, is prepare. Preparation is the key. Find out what it is that you have to offer someone or everybody in society that you can reach. What is it that you have to offer? What are your gifts? It's easy to work for a multi-level marketing company. That's a good start. Yes, that's great because that company is already set up pretty much. But you know what? You only get paid a piece of the rock when you work for corporate America. Corporate America too, as well as multi-level marketing. But when you create your own gifts, which is what a lot of entrepreneurs are doing today, they're taking their own intellectual properties. Same thing I'm doing with these events. I'm the one, my time, my energy, all of my thoughts are put into hosting these events. So that's what you're charging people for. You're charging people for what the energy, your experience, your time, and this is why it's so vital to discover your gifts and your talents. And even your hobbies that you don't think is a big deal can be monetized. I don't know if you're familiar with the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Yes. And then there's one that Lecter wrote, Think and Grow Rich for Women. And she's a stickler about financial stability. So I tell anybody, look up Sharon Lecter because she's written games for children, as it relates to financial. And a lot of times we fail to address those coming up. I didn't get it because our parents back in the day, they didn't get it. They didn't know. So now that I know better, I teach my children better, and I do better. So that's what it's all about because we want to live a fulfilling life while I'm here because you said it earlier, when you sick and when you're down and out, it's too late to say, I wish I woulda, shoulda, coulda, as they say. You have to prepare now. And how do you prepare? You go out, you associate with people, you meet people, you get over that uncomfortability stuff you have going on. Forget that. It's time to shake those old habits, get up, get uncomfortable because nothing happens in your comfort zone. And until we get out and see actually what other people are doing, you will never really know. I always tell people, if I'm in my own head, I won't grow. Because this is my head, and all I'm gonna do is confined to only what I allow. But when I go out and get around people like yourself and other people, then guess what? Now I have an opportunity to grow because I'm gonna learn from you and others who have more knowledge than what I have. And that's how I believe that people who are working anywhere should always consider being their own boss. And how do they do that? Discover their own gifts and talents and their hobbies, and they turn it into, as Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, it takes one sound idea for an individual to achieve the success and to build the fortune that they desire. And a lot of times.
That is so true. You know, and I love the fact that you're so out and open. One question that I have is that you said you are in all of these groups, the NAWP and then the WPN and the Chamber of Commerce and the construction women and all the good stuff that you're doing. How do you find time to go to these events and then coach other people?
How I find time is because, again, if you remember, I mentioned annual events, conferences. Conferences with each of these events, well, actually with the Chamber of Commerce, they have pretty much, we have once a month meetings. And then maybe throughout the month on occasion, we do have events. And those events are normally in the evening. And because I'm retired, I'm able to balance things out. I'm able to, I'm gonna say it like it is. I'm able to run myself raggedy and drop when I'm ready to drop because I don't have to go to work. Whereas when I was working and I would go to some events, I would go to work 8 hours. I worked the midnight shift and I would go to the events before I went to work, and then I would go to work. And of course I would be sleepy at work, you know, or sometimes I would be late getting to work, you know. So the bottom line is, now that I'm retired, it's called balance. It's called balance. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm glad you asked that question, because I'm going to tell you something. It sounds like a lot. And I do participate, but sometimes you may not can make every event, but I highly recommend anybody that if you're involved in a group, an organization, just be consistent. Just show up on a regular basis. You're not going to make every event, every conference, but you do need to be consistent and show up. Whether it's a luncheon, if it's a conference, at least throughout the year, you pick the number of times that you're going to show up at these particular, because once you hang around them and be involved, you'll know what you like, what you like most, and that's how you have to schedule it. And most of the organizations, when they have conferences, we have one coming up now with the Women's Prosperity Network. It's in June the 9th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. My event is June the 15th and the 16th in Atlanta. Theirs is 7th, 8th, and 9th is going to be in, I think it's in Deerfield Beach. My point is this: do you see how I schedule my event around their event? So it's all about scheduling, and it's all about prior planning. So
I hear what I hear you saying is prepare, and prepare. Plan, prepare,
yes.
prepare, and prepare, right? Because that's the key.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing, because anytime, like we know weddings, you know, every time we think of planning, the first thing that comes to mind is, you know, wedding. Because you have to start planning as to what you want, how you want it, why you want it, where you want it. And then it starts falling into place, because, you know, if you don't have the first thing set up, you never have the rest of the things set up. And, you know, preparation is everything. Even when you're cooking, you know, if you're traveling, you know, everything requires preparation.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. You know, everything takes preparation, you know, but what I find is that in meeting people, doors open. But when we're sitting from the computer, if I stay here from my computer all the time, I'm not allowing myself to meet people. But the doors are opening more so when I'm out and I meet people, because now they get to see who I am. They get to hear me speak, you know, my voice, they get to touch me, you know, and I always call that the human touch. Although social media is good, I can say that I think in a sense that it spoils some people, and some people just want to sit behind the computer and want to just reach out to people and think that's enough. It's good, but it's not enough, because I'm gonna tell you this, Munira. Everybody on social media is not trying to spend money, and everybody on social media does not have a job. And some people on social media are just being nosy. They just want to see what everybody else is doing in their life. So when we talk about targeting, when we talk about, yeah, you know it's true. When we talk about targeting, you got to target online and take those people offline into your world, or you into their world. But you have to find those people who are doing what you enjoy doing, and you connect with them offline. And then that's how we build genuine relationships. People don't even want to pick up the phone anymore, Miriam. I'm sorry, Munira. You know, I mean, they will text you. Some things, in my opinion, should be discussed over the phone.
True.
If I'm talking to you right now and I have somebody texting me, I can't respond to that text. But when I get off with this call right here, I pick my phone up, I call them. Now I've taken care of that back and forth texting. I just pick the phone up and call them because now I've taken care of that. It's done, it's over with in a matter of minutes, as opposed to you texting me, I'm texting you back, I'm going to the bedroom, I'm going to the car. Now when I come back, you text me 15, 20 minutes ago, all over one conversation.
And that's the key to conversation, because it's a lost touch. I mean, we are so connected with these devices on hand that we lose productivity. And, you know, we instead of going, like I used to work in corporate America, not anymore. I didn't prepare, like you said, but I was laid off, you know, and now I have my own business. But, you know, but I learned the hard way, right? Because I didn't prepare for it. I didn't have a job while I was preparing. I had to start figuring things out when I was laid off.
Right, yeah.
So when I was in corporate America, I had to go and walk into my boss's office because, like you, I'm old school. It's easier to go and have a conversation. Exactly what do you mean with this text or this email that you've sent me?
Yes, absolutely.
That's it, compared to me sending you emails and then waiting for you to respond.
Absolutely.
When you are only 5 feet away.
Absolutely. I never used to understand that. I mean, but I adapted to it because that was the way we had to do it. But it just doesn't it's a waste of time. It's just time is so valuable now, especially in today's society. That to me, I'm going to always pick up the phone, but I have people that have businesses and they will leave a recorder on their phone, say the best way to get in touch with me is to text me. And I'm like, no, the best way for you as a business owner, I say, think it to myself, I don't say it. But the best way, I would never leave a message like that, because I would say the best way for you to connect with me is via text, via email, or, you know, call me, or because at your convenience, whatever is easiest for you. You understand? But it's not about me. It's not about me. So the best way to get to me is to text me, because I'm going to tell you about me. If I'm trying to give you a referral, or if I'm trying to give you some business, I'm not going to do business with you, because at Unity and Service, we partner with individuals as well who have services. We market 3 services in Unity and Service. That is, that is number one. We do our business coaching, and we show you how to transition from corporate America to entrepreneur. Your role as an entrepreneur by taking your gifts, talents, and hobbies and turn them into a business. If you are an entrepreneur and you've lost vision of your why, we're going to show you how to get back on track and stay on track. Also, we're going to be that inspiration for you. We also show you the legal and the identity theft portion is to protect you first, then your family and your business. Why? Because as an entrepreneur, a lot of people are out here selling food. They're selling packages on different things. And a lot of times, you know, sometimes it's just like going to Walmart, sometimes going to Macy's, things are defective and people want a refund. Now we open ourselves up for litigation. You know what I'm saying? And it's best to be protected legally for a small minimum fee a month, because when you are affected, if you get in a car accident, I wrecked my car a day before I had an event in October. I wrecked my car. I ran into the back of someone. And I just, you know, thank God I had legal, of course, but what happened, that took a load off of my mind. I wasn't worried about it. I know I was at fault, but nobody got hurt, thank God. I wrecked my little car, my little red sports car. But you know what? And the truck in front of me wasn't injured. It was a big truck, so they only messed up the front of my car. But the bottom line is this. It was the day before my event, and it never bothered me. I came home. I let those people tow my car home, and I came home, and I got my other vehicle. I thank God it wasn't that vehicle, my BMW. But the bottom line is, having legal, the first thing I did was call the attorney. This is what happened. He told me what to do. Send me the police report. I went by, got the police report the next day or so, whatever, and I sent it to them whenever I got it. But the bottom line is, there was no stress there for me, because I knew that I had the protection I needed. And sure enough, I found out later, those 2 guys in the truck up there in front of me, they wanted to claim that they were injured. But you know what? From that day, that was October of last year, from that day to this day, I've heard nothing about it. You understand what I'm saying? Nothing further about it because the laws have changed. You can't just run into somebody, hit you in the back, and now you just go sue like that. No, you got to jump through some hoops. So the bottom line is, it just took a load off of me, and eventually they paid my car off because they didn't fix it properly, and it started smoking one day. So they just paid it off. But my point is this. From that day to this, and my insurance company told me that day when I called them, a few days later when they called me back to tell me, oh, the injured party, whatever, we're going to settle with them. I'm like, if it comes to that. But my point is, she said, Ms. Rogers, you don't have anything to worry about because you have more than enough insurance that you need. So from that day, I never heard anything about it. Even the police didn't give me a ticket. So I don't even know. I guess the laws changed that too. I said, police, where's my ticket? She said, you're not getting the ticket. I said, oh. So I'm grateful. But my point is, this is why we need legal. So I came home and got my other truck, my vehicle, got in it, and I went on back to what I was doing, which was picking up my balloons for that next day event. And I went through that 2-day event with no problem whatsoever. Why? Because there was no stress on me, because I had the legal protection I needed to take me through these incidents. And this is where we mess up at. We don't want to invest a small amount, a monthly fee of $24.95 to protect not just me, but my family. And I think our supplemental plans for people who are entrepreneurs like yourself and myself, the $9.95 plan is just an addition to what I pay for the legal coverage, as well as I have the identity theft protection for $9.95. So those are the things that I'm doing to not just enhance my life, but to empower the lives of others. I think I signed about 4 people up this week. So it's about planting seeds. And when people know, you talked about marketing, getting people to know who you are, when people know what you do. And that's why I say, can't just be from the computer. You have to get out and let what you do, because this is how people are going to know to call you when they need your services. They may not get my services at every event that I'm setting up a table to market but I tell you what, I'm getting that information in their hand, and they're going to know when they need that service. I had 2 ladies call me this past week that was in an event that I had back in 2014. And they said, are you still doing that legal stuff? I said, yes, I'm going to do it for life. So, but if they didn't know that I had it back then, they wouldn't have known to call me.
Well, thank you so much. So what are the last words that you want to tell the viewers?
Well, the last thing I would like to tell the viewers, I would just like to leave a nugget with the viewers to, first of all, stay focused on your vision. And you have to become uncomfortable in order to achieve your goals. Giving up is not an option. Quitting is not an option. And the more you do something, the easier it becomes. And I'm a huge fan for networking. Network, and network. So with that, I also want to give the audience, anybody that hears this audio, look at this, this recording and video, I would like to give them a free gift if they would text. You have to text the word VIP Rockstar, all one word, VIP Rockstar. It doesn't matter whether it's capital or lower, but it has to be one word, VIP Rockstar. And you're going to text that word to 80800. That's 800. And there you will get a free gift from me, a free report. It's basically a free report on how to host networking events, because this is what I do. We have a big event coming up in June, the 15th and 16th, and it's called Jumpstart Your Business 2018, and it's going to be in Atlanta. This is the first time we're taking our events out of South Florida, and I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone, and I'm going to Atlanta, and I'm going to host an event, and we have huge speakers coming to our stage: Bill Walsh, Nancy Matthews, Eric Swanson, we have Paul Fink, and we have Vishal Majaria. He's coming from England. Everybody else is in state, but the bottom line is, then we have, outside of that, we have 12 more additional, I call us rising star speakers. So with that, they can also, I think I was telling you this earlier, whenever people take part in my coaching packages, And it offers a multitude of things because I believe in building that foundation, social media, videoing, all of those things, different social media sites you have to familiarize yourself with. Also, definitely marketing is huge. Marketing and also public speaking is a part that goes with my coaching package. If you do business with me, basically, that's just a gimme that we're going to put you on a stage and you're going to have to speak in front of those people that comes to our event, because this is how we break through those uncomfortable feelings that we have. This is how we perfect our skills. And also, if you, when I work with you or you work with me, whichever, we also are going to have you on a live video recording, such as what we're doing here. So I believe in taking my clients and giving them a good foundation of the basic things that they need coming out of corporate America, or, you know, even if they're already retired, we want to show them the basic things. Because with, as Bill Walsh always say, if you cannot master the mundane, and then I'm gonna back that up by saying the Bible says, if you're faithful over a few things, then we will be charged with much greater duties and responsibilities, which will also bring us great wealth. So that's all I have, and I appreciate you for this interview. And I do hope that everybody got something out of this. I know I enjoyed it. And again, my name is Pat Rogers. I am the CEO of Unity in Service, where people need people.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much, Patricia. I really appreciate it. And guys, you know that she's talking about preparation. She's talked about, you know, people needing people. And it's us that we need people. And then, you know, I want to leave you with thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. And thank you for making my day. I'm going to text that number to you.
Yes.
And VIP Rockstar, one word, to you to see what you have to offer. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Okay, and thank you again.
Bye.